Over the next year, I'll be driving across America to sit down with real people in a jar of questions, to share real conversations with the rest of the world. Why have I quit my job? Why have I, bought a van? And why am I going to drive around the country? Well, I'm passionate about the idea that you need to be heard. 90 days ago, I was in a suit and a tie in some office in Vietnam, helping run an insurance company, doing meetings on reports and, sales, recruitment, and, worried about operations and what kind of upgrades the systems need and all kinds of completely useless world stuff. Certainly important to the customers, and it's important to the selling people, the agents. But, as far as my life, I look back at that and I'm like, holy cow, how inconsequential was that work? And, now I'm having a chance to meet people and connect people.
It was like, that's all we hope for, is that we
Crazy.
put your creative idea to life the best way that we know how. So all this stuff you're doing now is really giving it legs. And so don't negate anything that you're doing, because your shots don't look bad. And, we're all learning here. This is all new for everyone.
Amen.
It's the thing too. It's real. It's like you're doing all this and you're learning as you go. So then you can even see the progress of like stuff that looks not as good in the beginning. And then, a month from now, it gradually gets better and better,
Yeah.
So it's kind of a nice, it's a nice little, process of time. But
yeah, this show will have its own evolution as time goes on.
Yeah, lose, baby. As I wake today, please wash away my sins, my past, my yesterdays. When I look in the mirror, eye to eye with the man I have become.
Those of you listening to The Jar, welcome to The Jar. And today's April 4th, and I'm sitting here with Karl Allison, the senior pastor at Hope Community Church.
Yes.
And thank you, Karl. Welcome to the show. Thanks for being my first guest.
Great.
Very exciting.
What prize do I get for being your first guest?
Yes, you get that honor of being number one.
Excellent. I'll take it. I'll take it.
Why don't you spend just a couple minutes, Karl? Tell us about your journey, how you got here, and who you are in the universe, and
great.
Share a little bit.
All of that could be our podcast, but let's see. I'll try to condense it. I grew up an atheist, so the last thing I ever wanted to do in the world was what I'm doing right now. I'm also a lifetime hardcore, deeply committed introvert. So me being around people was intimidating just to think about that kind of a job. But then also talking to people about God. Well, yeah, growing up, this was not on my radar, not at all, nowhere near it. But somewhere along the line, shortly out of high school, I looked at my life and realized I'm kind of empty, and there's no purpose, meaning, or value, significance to what I'm doing in life or to me. And so that set me on a search for that, which ended up being a search for God. And I thought, well, if I could find God, maybe he's in church somewhere.
Turn right toward I-5.
Just finished my first guest interview on The Jar. 443 to go. That was an exceptionally powerful meeting, and I'm feeling relieved. I'm feeling hopeful about the next 443. Even as a person who hasn't been to church in a long time, and not a super faithful person in that regard, I was inspired by his answers. Every day is a struggle on that
An
one.
opportunity, yeah.
And an opportunity, yeah. Struggle is real on this, and the opportunities to do better every day. Let's keep going. Another free question.
Boy, I don't know if I have the stamina for
Yeah.
Such heavy questions. This will be a nice change.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
A nice, well, Tom, every once in a while you need a layup. And to use a basketball
That's right.
analogy,
Really good, Kenny.
you need a layup. Have you found love?
I think that's my thing is the relational thing that I'm talking about is Tiffany, my wife. But there's love in so many different dynamics. And I certainly, it was love at first sight for me. She knows that. And it still is 33 years later, it's still the same. But we as fluid, dynamic individuals, that love ebbs and flows. And it's fun to watch. You know, when I need lifting up, she's there to do it. When there's gaps in love, you work it out, and it becomes even closer because you've hung in there and you've done the work necessary to keep it strong, and to see the value in that. But that's a relational love. Certainly love my dogs. I like some of the projects that I'm working. I love a lot of my clients. Love a lot of my peers. Certainly my family, my son, my daughter, my grandkids, and those are relational things. I love the chaos of work sometimes. The stress and stuff is a rejuvenating thing. So love's a pretty wide, I don't know if you can get a wider word than just that.
It's beautiful.
That human word out there.
How did you become an activist? What inspired that part? Because that's quite, I mean, personally, that can be quite draining and not dangerous, but it's kind of controversial in a way. It puts you in a spotlight sometimes, not always positive. Yeah.
I don't know. And it's something I do question about myself, like, why am I drawn to this work? And, you know, I think there's a natural part of it. Another part of it was being in Olympia, which is a very activist town.
Okay, yes.
You know, I always used to joke, like, you know, you move here, you got to pick your cause. What are you going to be working on?
So Candace, pick a card, read it. If you'd like to answer it, why don't you share it with me and I'll read it for the audience.
Oh, it's a good one. It's a good one.
Oh my gosh, okay.
I think I got chills.
How would you build a charitable organization from scratch?
Well, I witnessed the birth of the Rachel Corrie Foundation. First, you have to have a cause that you're absolutely passionate about, because this is a hard slog. You've got to be in it for the right reasons. You have to have a little faith too, just faith, and be flexible and learn strategy and tactics.
Yeah, you're going to learn. That's great. Okay, this is a homeless camp. They got their own mailbox. It's garbage day tomorrow, so they're taking the garbage out. And here we go. Got complete power line. And they got power. It's amazing.
Well, I really enjoyed spending the day with Ken. I tried to show you some unusual sights. It's absolutely beautiful here. I love Olympia. Olympia has been so good to me, and come visit us.
All right, let's keep going. This is great.
All right, here we go.
You've got some good, you know, not too deep and not too crazy questions so far.
That's an interesting one.
Yeah, this is my kind of my yesterday today thing, or not yesterday today, but the sunrise and sunset part of that part of the book. Do you feel more hopeful during the sunrise or during the sunset?
I feel more hopeful during a sunrise.
Okay.
One thing about the Army is you get to see a lot of sunrises. And
Oh, so true, I'm sure.
it's like drawing in new life to a day.
Yeah.
You know, when it's sunset, you're usually inside with your family having dinner or whatever. If you go camping, you're going to see some sunsets,
Yeah.
and they're beautiful. But when I see a sunrise and I'm awake for it, it's such a beautiful thing. It's breathing life into your day.
Yeah. Agree.
I love that.
I
love that feeling of, it feels free,
Interesting.
just freedom. Even if it's just for a moment.
I think it is something. I hope people listening can kind of get that as well, reflect on that too. We take it for granted. I think I do take it for granted, those mornings, right?
I think we all do.
When that sun comes up, and we should feel hopeful. Juan knew how to finish a thought and get to the next question. So that was interesting. I'm kind of, I'll be able to start to see people and guide people through. It's good.
Yeah. It's a learning thing. You'll pick it up and it'll just all come natural. But be yourself, and the ums and all that stuff, it'll come and it's a real conversation. Like, that's what people talk about.
Yeah, that is how people naturally talk.
Yeah.
I mean, transparency, honesty, realness, they
Keep it real.
it makes you endearing to your audience.
The word real keeps on coming up every single time.
Yeah.
Just keep it real.
Yep.
Again, that's what it's about.
Stream the Jar podcast anywhere you listen to podcasts, or better yet, join myself and the Jar for a conversation in your city. Okay, here we go. You want to use the shoulder?
And again, I'm going to get both feet there.
Yeah, get both feet
Ooh,
down
it's a little
first.
slippery.
There you go.
Gotta be careful with that.
Yeah. You want to put a hand on the shoulder? There you go.
Shoulder, and coming down.
Oh.